We've reached the midway point of college football, so it's about time to start updating my prospect rankings for the 2023 NFL Draft. So that's what we're here to do today. Here are my midseason top 10 defensive interior prospects. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. But first, what's crackalacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I know, just fill it with names of guys you think should be on this list, because I'm sure I'm going to see a ton of that. Let's go ahead and get into number 10, Keanu Benton out of Wisconsin. Honestly, there was another guy that just outside of the top 10 here, and really why I have Benton here is because he is not as much as of a tweener as, well, number 11, but Benton has been pretty solid this year. He was a former 3-star recruit from the 2019 class. He also was a 2-time state qualifier in wrestling, and then as a freshman he made 6 starts for the Badgers at nose tackle, and then in a shortened 2020 season he made 5 starts at nose tackle. 2021 he played in all 13 games at nose tackle. He was second team, or at least second team all Big Ten, and this season he's been pretty solid. He's been pretty good. Really, the only like size is a big reason, because there's a lot of tweener-esque, or at least undersized prospects in this class, and you don't fear that with him. And I love Benton's mentality, his physicality. He plays with very strong and violent hands, and he combines that with pretty good get off. He shows excellent balance. He uses his hands very well, and you could see the wrestling background in how he fights off blockers. He keeps his eyes in the backfield, and he does a great job of staying with the play and just tracking down ball carriers. Dude's a sure tackler, plays with a big motor. Thing is with him, he does struggle at getting and maintaining leverage, just sinking low at times. There are also times of the run game where he can just be carried out of the play. So he needs to be more technically sound and more like gap discipline. But I feel like that's something he's gotten a lot better at this season. Even in the passing game, though, he can also be swallowed up because he just plays too high. He really does. And honestly, I kind of like him as a penetrator in a one-gap scheme, but I know he's high on, I think it's Todd McShay's board. I'm not around there yet with him, but he does have quality size. So I got him here as this late day 2, early day 3 prospect. On to number 9, Mazi Smith. This dude is a monster. He was number 1 on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list coming into the season. And we're going to get into why, man. Dude's 6'3", 337. He's a big boy, but he was a 4-star recruit out of the 2019 class. In his first 2 seasons, he only appeared in 7 games, racking up a whopping 58 snaps on the defensive side of the ball during that time. But he became a starter in 2021, hasn't looked back since. Again, this cat was first on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list, and most of his numbers would have actually been that were recorded by Michigan would have been first or second in the 2022 NFL draft class in terms of the defensive interior class. And he isn't just a combine warrior either, man. You could see this guy's strength in the game as he likes to walk interior linemen back into the laps of quarterbacks, back into the pocket. He can disengage from blocks at will. He plays with really good leverage. He sets an immovable anchor, and he could really cause pileups there in the middle of the play. He also stacks and sheds pretty darn well. Again, it's that great leverage, man. He's huge in the run game, and legit, you see pursuit in this guy. This guy, it's like Michael Myers at 337 coming after you. He will pursue guys down to the sideline, and shoot, man, if he gets his hands on you, you're pretty much toast. He could get a couple of fingers and you might be done. Dude's been a sure tackler as well. Now, he does lack ideal length. He is a bit stubby in that regard, and his get off, I wouldn't say, is next level, at least in terms of what I see on the field. even if he tests out well, it's like really when you look at the combine stats and statistics, it's just like numbers. You're just like, it's supposed to verify what you see on the field. If it's not matching up, it's not lining up. You just go with what you've seen on the field. He does show the ability to disengage from blockers at will, but sometimes he will often choose just to walk them back into the pocket, and he could be a bit more of a disruptor on the down-to-down basis if he really, really tries to get after it rather than just trying to put boys on their butts. I think he could get after, like, he's got the quickness to get after it a lot harder than he normally does. As you can see, 11 pressures, only a sack, to be fair. Michigan does do a lot of rotating in and out. Not as much as a team like Georgia, but they do their fair share. I wouldn't really call this a breakout year. So, again, a guy that's probably going to test out extremely well, but in terms of like high-end production, it's not necessarily there with Mozzie Smith, but it should get him into day 2. And then number 8, I got KOBIE Turner out of Wake Forest. This is a new guy on the list here, and one I freaking fell in love with this year. I remember watching the Clemson-Wake Forest game, and I was just like, who is this man? This man's nasty. He is a 6-year senior, and we'll talk about that. Let's talk about his journey, I guess. He was an unranked recruit from the 2017 class, and actually his brother right now plays for South Carolina. Now, as a freshman, KOBIE Turner was with the Richmond Spiders. As a freshman there, he redshirted, and then he went on to play in every game in 2018 in a rotation role. Then in 2019, he started all 12 games, ended up being third team all CAA. And then in 2020, they played in the spring season because, the Rona and crap. But they played spring season. He finished first team all CAA. He was CAA co-defensive player of the year, and then 2021 it was basically rinse and repeat. So he was now a grad transfer, went on to Wake Forest, and he has been a monster for the Demon Deacons. This dude plays strong, he plays tough, he plays nasty. He's a tone setter on the defensive line, plays with a lot of violence. He has an extremely strong lower half and can just mow down blockers. He has this very devastating bull rush, plays with a lot of discipline, executes his assignments exceptionally well. He is, and if you go back and read some of the stuff that the coaching staff and the teammates of Richmond, that were there at Richmond for Turner, all they do is just praise this cat. Like he is a student of the game. The amount of work he puts, not just on the field but in the film room, is like astounding. Like there's a lot of praise for this guy. Back at Richmond, he was responsible for setting the front and being sure that everybody in the front seven knew what they needed to do and knew where they needed to be. Like, and you see that type of leadership along Wake Forest. Like this defense, they've never been known as a really good defense. Going back to like last year, but like this year they are much improved by comparison. Now we get to Turner. Don't have an exact age on this cat, but he is a 6-year senior, so I imagine he's going to be up there in dog years. He is a bit undersized. You look at that 290 and you kind of consider it oversized, but it's not nearly as bad as some other guys that are like 280, 275 in this class. So that's honestly, 290 ain't all that bad in today's NFL, really. He is, for all intents and purposes, more of a north-south guy. Don't expect this guy to really be someone that shows you a lot of lateral movement, and more so he's probably this penetrating 3-tech in the NFL. Because and in general, he's just not a high-end athlete. Yeah, it's just not. Like, it's big reason. Like, you look for these guys probably like earlier. That's why I threw a 3rd-round grade on him, because he's just a nasty football player. Like, we kind of saw that with was it Fedarian Mathis last year? Got drafted in the 3rd round out of Alabama. Where he was like, yeah, he isn't like a high-end athlete, but he's just a do-good football player. And that's kind of what KOBIE Turner is, man. I'm a big fan of this cat's game, so got him here. On to the next, we got KALIJAH KANCEY out of Pittsburgh. This is a cat with tweener size at 6'2", 280, and former 3-star recruit from the 2018 class. He redshirted his freshman season, then played in all 11 games in 2020 and started the Final Four there. And then in 2021, he finished with 9 sacks, was first team All-ACC, and he's he's on the same type of trajectory. Oh my gosh, I hate words. Same type of course this season. This dude has really good get off. Dude has incredible get off. He wins with relentless hustle. His feet move quick. He has a very unique bend. You can see that on stunt plays. He uses his lack of height to his advantage as he has that natural leverage, and he gets great leverage consistently. He has strong hands. And honestly can be a bit more dominant if he just added a few more power moves to his arsenal, because he definitely has it. Just needs to add a little bit more to the toolbox there. But more times than not, man, he's the first defender in the backfield. Nightmare in one-on-one situations. I love the movement skills. Offers a lot of versatility. Thing is, he is battling an uphill battle. 6 foot, 280. He's a bit of a tweener. He's short and he's light. And I mean, it hasn't affected his production as of yet, but still something to be concerned of going into the NFL. His hand usage does leave a bit to be desired, as while he has strong hands, I like to see a bit more, how would you say, I guess, purpose in his strikes rather than just swapping hands off him. It'd be nice, especially since considering he's usually not the first at the point of attack, because of that lack of height, that it would be nice to see a bit more technical skill, I guess, with his hands. If he can't immediately penetrate, then he's usually a non-factor in the run game, and it can be easily moved in the run game. So we're looking at a guy that might just end up being really this someone you put on passing downs, but also I like this cat as like a 3-4 end possibly too. So big fan of KANCEY. Dude's producing 24 pressures, is among the highest among defensive interior players this year. 8.5 tackles for loss. Dude's just doing good. And then we got JAQUELIN Roy out of LSU here at number 6 for me. Dude was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class. Saw plenty of action his freshman season, carving out a rotation role where he had over 250 snaps. And he technically didn't start a game till the Texas Bowl this past in 2021 versus Kansas State. But the dude was on the field a ton. He almost had 500 snaps. And this season, it's not exactly the type of jump I wanted to see from him, but he's still been disruptive. And to be fair, there's a lot more pressure on him with Mason Smith out. He got hurt in the season opener there against Florida State. But this dude has tremendous upside as a passer, man. He has a real nasty first step, possesses great footwork. He shows a very good approach to rushing the passer. He knows how to layer on combos and secondary moves. Just plays with good leverage, uses quick hands to keep blockers off balance. And I just love the movement skills in general, man. He runs with a hot motor, and he has the kind of sideline to sideline hustle you want to see in the run game, quite frankly. Now, while he made big strides in 2021, it feels like he's plateaued a bit in terms of that. Overall, he does need to improve upon his technique. Like, he's just still got a ways to go and can be viewed a bit as a developmental prospect. Like, his gap discipline, he kind of just he struggles in that regard. When he has to take on double teams, he tries to roll out and he leaves his assignment quite a bit. He may have some of the best hand usage in this class, but it just doesn't always have that pop you desire when you look for, like, you on the interior. You like to see those strong hands that just like pop and like just hurt on contact. Like, you like to see those deafening type of blows, like a brick through a windshield. That's the type of pop you want to see from hands. And like, honestly, he has the upper body strength to do so. Honestly, it's just maybe a matter of time, man. And again, it's not, this year's not the step up that I wanted to see, which is why I'm not really talking about him in the first round so much anymore. But it's still one that's going to be highly valued. Also, Anchor can be a bit inconsistent at times. A lot of that's probably lower body strength or maybe even core strength. So maybe a cat that needs to put on a bit more mass in the lower body area. And I got Tully Piloto out of USC having a monster year. 18 pressures, 7 sacks, got a forced fumble in there. If the name sounds familiar, his brother was drafted by the Eagles. Marlon Tully Piloto, just not last season, but in 2021. Was a big fan of him. His cousin Hufanga is tearing it up for the Niners this year. Also, he's cousins with former Indianapolis Colt Philly Mola. But yeah, this cat, he's got the pedigree. Former 3-star recruit out of the 2020 class. His freshman season, he played all 6 games for the Trojans while making 3 starts, and then he started every game in 2021, was first team all Pac-12, and he's well on his way to being another first team player this season. The guy's just been disruptive, man. He has the quicks and the ability to win with leverage on the outside as a pass rusher, which is kind of wild. And honestly, that should move or translate well when moving more so to the interior. And the dude shows strong hands at the point of attack. He doesn't allow himself to be contained by blocks. Like, this dude has he has some nasty pop in his hands, and he does a nice job of moving guys in the run game. He hits blockers with this nasty spin move, and it's almost his go-to all the time. Like, if he gets stuck, engaged, man, I don't know how I'm gonna break free. Oh yeah, I do. Spin move. It's a spin move almost every time, which we'll talk about that when we get to his cons. But this dude's relentless when tracking down ball carriers. He shows a great change of direction for a guy that's nearly 300 pounds. And he's just been a plus in the run game. He's a penetrator. He loves to wreak havoc in the backfield. That's just his game. Now, he is a bit of a tweener, bit undersized at 290, but at 6'4", man, it's like, yeah, you can fill in a bit more on that frame. Again, 290 is not as undersized as it used to be. But this is a cat that's also playing a majority of his snaps on the outside. He just is kind of outside of the tackle. So it's like, while he does have some reps there on the interior, they like to use him a bit more on the outside. So not to say that might be a detriment to his game. It's just something to point out. He does lack the length and the bend to win on the outside. While he's got really good bend for his size, it's not ideal for what you want on the outside. This guy's going to have to move to the interior, or at least be like a 3-4 end. So playing that like 4-eye tech role. Now, his power is more explosive, and there are times he can just get stonewalled by blockers. And again, he relies on this spin move all the time. So if that's something like at the NFL level you're anticipating, then you're going to be able to easily deal with it. So he needs to add more counters to when he does get stuck at the point of attack. How do you react? It can't always be the spin move. That can't be the only way you can disengage. Let's see you use your hands a bit more. Like, swat them away. Throw a swim move in there or something. I don't know. But honestly, this guy, if he puts on more weight, he's going to be playing an interior role in the NFL. Like, you're going to love to see it. Honestly, I want to see a bull rush from this dude too, because he's got the pop. He plays with good leverage. Like, the dude just needs to add that to his repertoire. Like, this is the cat I'm really excited about. So, top 50, I think Mel Kiper had him in his top 25. I'm not there yet, but big fan of this cat. And now we got Siaki Ika, excuse me, but I like Sika Ika. I think that's kind of cool. But Siaki Ika, former 4-star recruit out of the 2019 class, saw plenty of action as a freshman for LSU. That's where he initially went in a rotation role where he had over about 250 250 snaps. Then a scheme change happened once the Aranda, the former DC, went on to coach Baylor. LSU had a scheme change, and he just saw a huge droppage in usage where he only had 75 snaps that following season. So he decided to transfer to Baylor, reunite with his old DC, and the guy's been very good ever since. He's been pretty darn good this season as well. Not nearly as disruptive, but he's playing a bit more disciplined in the run, and I like to see that because, listen, if you're a pass rush and nose tackle, you're not first round eligible. You're just not. You want to see a more rounded game than that. We see these guys that are like very good pass rushers for being nose tackles, like Tyler Shelvin, who went fourth round a few years ago. You had who was the cat out of, well, I guess his teammate, his former teammate from LSU, Neal. He went in the 5th round of the Raiders. So it's like having that more rounded game, like more, they're gonna look at you. And I mean, this dude's a behemoth, man. Look at it, like 6'4", 350. Dude's a monster, and he has monster-like strength. He delivers strong blows. He's consistently pushing the pocket. He shows a nifty dip moves, and dude can get pressure quicker than you would anticipate for a guy his size. In the run game, he's been capable of just playing or just blowing up plays right away. He sits on a immovable anchor and he creates pileups. You love to see that in the run game. He has a nice sturdy frame. He's this big space eater in the middle, consistently demands double teams, and has the ability to split said double teams. Dude's really good at that. Now, Ika is a penetrated nose tackle and will need to be on a defense that can make the most use of that. Now, LSU obviously didn't have that type of confidence when they were moving to a 4-3 scheme. So we could be looking at it like, okay, this is a guy that's kind of like pigeonholed into a position. He doesn't have that versatility along the defensive line. So if you're looking for a penetrating nose tackle, like, this is your guy. If you're a team that doesn't really utilize that a ton, then you're going to stay away from him. It's just as simple as that. There are times he does play a bit too high on plays. It does get locked up. Usually, though, he pushes. Usually then he does push the pocket, but because he does kind of lack the technique to redirect or stack and shed, something he does need to get better at, something that's been a bit more obvious this year as the pressures aren't piling up as they were last year. Something he does need to work on. He does need to work on a few other moves. And again, a guy that's got the strength to be able to like stack and shed easy. Like, honestly, a push-pull move should be right up there with him, you know. That should be right up his alley. So just want to see him add a bit more moves. But in terms of what we're dealing with as not necessarily even a raw prospect, but just the raw size and the motor, the push that he gives, like, I consider this guy a back end of the first round talent. And then Gervin Dexter, here number 3 for me. Big fan of Gervin Dexter. Having a really good year. Added an interception to his stats this year, so very impressive. 6'6", 303. Former 5-star recruit from the 2020 class. Saw plenty of action his freshman season, carving out a rotation role where he had over 250 snaps. Became the full-time starter in 2021. Hasn't looked back ever since. We saw the flashes in 2021, and they've been more apparent this season. This dude moves exceptionally fast for a 300-pounder, and the dude's sudden. He's quick off the line, too. His length creates all kinds of problems for blockers. He's consistently clogging running lanes, no matter where he lines up along the line. You see that versatility. They're willing to line him up wherever. And this dude delivers some very deafening blows. He combines out with his length, and it makes for just one of the most formidable bull rushes in this class. He plays with a good motor, tracks out ball carriers sideline to sideline. Big fan. Dude's still a work in progress in terms of his technique, and being at 6'6", there are times he can play a bit too high and fail to get leverage. But again, dude just needs to get lower pad level. We just want to see him add more pass rushing moves to his arsenal. Again, it is a step up from what we saw in 2021. He showed flashes, and now we're seeing him being a constant menace there for Florida. And yeah, man, big fan of Gervin Dexter. A guy I'd be willing to take inside the top 20, really. And then Brian Brazee out of Clemson here at number 2 for me. If you got a problem with how I pronounce it, that's literally how it's listed out on Clemson's website. If you got a problem with it, take it up with Clemson. But former 5-star recruit from the 2020 class, he exploded on the scene in his freshman season, racking up 26 pressures, 4 sacks. And then in 2021, he had a hot start with 10 pressures and a sack through the first 4 games, but then he tore his ACL. And then this season, he's played, I think, only 4-ish games. And that's because he lost his sister to cancer this season. So he's taken some time away from the team. So if you're like, stats aren't that eye-popping, it's because he's missed some time because of that unfortunate situation. But when this dude's on the field, man, like, this guy's got a motor for days. He is probably the single best effort player in this class. Dude plays to the whistle and through the whistle, and his length really helps him get to the point of attack fairly quickly. I love the dude's foot speed. He combines that with his length, and he's just consistently pushing the pocket, and he's just consistently dictating the line of scrimmage. Like, good luck moving this dude off his anchor. And this dude doesn't blink when facing double teams. He has just been a monster when on the field. Now, the return from injury, it has looked good. That was one of my biggest questions going into this season. How will he look coming back from the ACL? And you know what? He's looked mwah. Now, doesn't necessarily have the best get off, but it's pretty good get off. He wins with his frame. He wins with short area quicks, and he wins again with a nonstop motor. There are times where he will struggle to disengage in the run game, but even when he's tied up, man, he's forcing plays to break down. Though, like, the dude's just really good. Got him listed as a top 10. This defensive interior class is just bonkers. And then everyone should know who number 1 is. It's Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is freaking amazing. Now, the stats with him normally aren't great because, like, again, Georgia, they have this deep rotation, but he has been plagued by a knee injury this season. And honestly, if you see him fall in a lot of mocks from people, it's this recency bias. That's just what people want to get new names, get people talking about names. So guys will fall. So since Carter's been hurt, he's been falling in some mock drafts, and I don't expect that to happen. This guy's up there with Will Anderson in terms of who is the best non-quarterback prospect in this class, dude. Jalen Carter is freaking amazing. Former 5-star recruit from the 2020 class. He played a little bit his freshman year, and he had a more prominent role with the Bulldogs in 2021. And then this year, he's been a starter, just, again, been slowed by the knee injury. Side note, this guy punted in high school. So if you're a type of team that's like, if our punter goes down, we got the solution, kind of like what the Chiefs did with Justin Reed, where he became their kicker for a game. Then bam, you got Jalen Carter back there to punt the football and then play special teams. But this guy plays with a lot of power, plays with great leverage. It's hard getting him off his anchor, and he stacks and sheds with like anyone with relative ease. Like, by himself, he dictates the line of scrimmage in the run game. He has a nasty swing move, and he leaves offensive linemen just eating dirt. Like, I love this guy, dude. He's a very explosive get off, very quick feet. Combine that with a rare bend for an interior player, and he's just consistently a winner on stunt moves. Dude never quits on plays and plays with hot motor every day, every play. I said this last year, like, he was the best player on that Georgia defense last year. He really was. And that's still the fact today. If we're going to kind of nitpick, there are times where he does get held in check by double teams. Many of his wins off of double teams are broken plays, which just it's really where he just grinds it out, and maybe the play gets broken to the outside, so he's able to rather than the essentially quarterback rolls outside of the pocket, so the blockers there, they're blocking as if he is in the pocket. So when the play breaks down, it's a bit easier to get off those double teams. So that's sometimes what we see with Jalen Carter, at least back in his 2021 tape. Dude's maintained a high level. Condition will be something I put earlier this year before the season to look out for, as there are times where he did look gassed. Obviously, that didn't stop Jordan Davis going really high, and I really think this guy is a better prospect than Jordan Davis. But yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I know we're already going to hear about KOBIE Wooden not making the list, and he was number 11 for me. I'm also a big fan of Tyler Davis, but yeah, just let me know what you think in the comment section below. Very good class. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.